And joining me now to talk about this is the former Lieutenant Governor of New York and a senior fellow for the London Center of Policy Research, Betsy McCaughey. Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Well, you heard Governor Cuomo say that ICE is endangering public safety. Does ICE have a responsibility under the Constitution to show a warrant and identify themselves before an arrest?
No, and in fact, it's the governor who doesn't have a constitutional leg to stand on. First of all, the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4, gives the federal government the exclusive authority to make immigration law and to enforce it. What's happening here is that Andrew Cuomo is choosing the criminals over the victims of crime. 80% of the people who have been apprehended in these recent ICE raids in New York and in New Jersey and elsewhere have serious criminal records. They have a long rap sheet. They've been deported in many cases numerous times. This particular occasion, up in Rome, New York, the man who was apprehended was wanted for aggravated assault and had been deported 3 times. And since January, many of these illegal immigrants have been involved in deadly crimes. For example, 17 children in Long Island, New York, have been brutally murdered by illegals from Central America who are part of the MS-13 gang. And it's when I describe to you what they do. First, they bash the children to death with baseball bats. Then they put a plastic bag over their heads and suffocate them, and then they cut off their lips and nose and ears with machetes. So unfortunately, Andrew Cuomo didn't have the victims' families there at the news conference, only advocates for illegal immigrants.
Right. Okay. Well, let me get the response from Deputy Director of ICE, Thomas Hoffman. He released this statement following Governor Cuomo's announcement. He said, quote, "The governor's comments were inaccurate and an insult to ICE's sworn law enforcement officers. ICE cannot and will not cease and desist from fulfilling the agency's congressionally mandated mission of enforcing federal law." Now, Betsy, you have said that states say one thing, ICE says another. I mean, how does this play out in court? Obviously, this is going to end up as a court battle.
That's right, and the taxpayers of New York State are going to be funding a totally frivolous lawsuit. I have the cease and desist letter here, and it is factually incorrect. It is not true that ICE has to present a judicially issued warrant before making these arrests. It is untrue. ICE uses administrative warrants, and if they have probable cause, they can get the warrant afterwards. So Cuomo needs to get his law facts straight. But in addition, what he really has to do is pay attention to New Yorkers who want safe streets and communities rather than pandering to the advocates for illegal immigration, including all of these criminals who are being picked up. 80% of those picked up have criminal records. We want them off the streets.
But, I mean, according to ICE's statistics, 225 of the people arrested, there were 180 that had prior convictions.
That's right.
Or had criminal charges pending.
Brutal crimes in many instances. Brutal crimes.
Yes, but you know, Lieutenant Governor, respectfully, there's not necessarily evidence that rounding up these individuals leads to fewer crimes committed by illegal immigrants or illegal immigrants in general. In fact, non-criminal immigrants arrests last year are up. Last year alone, more than 37,000 people without criminal records were arrested. So there are a lot of people who are arrested in these sweeps who their only crime is coming to this country without the proper documentation, which I agree is illegal. But isn't there the chance that families and people that are connected and have roots here in the United States are going to be ripped out of their homes and taken away from their families?
Well,
does that concern you at all?
You could make the same preposterous argument against law enforcement involving American citizens. Of course, on occasion, people who are innocent are arrested. Then they go through the process and they're released. But we can't stop attempting to enforce the law and apprehend people who are guilty or wanted of serious crimes, because some people may be swept up in that. Once they're swept up in it and they're shown to be innocent, they are released.
I just wonder, you know, in totality, when you look at this, you know, there's certainly a concern about, you know, reining in those who have committed serious crimes. But, you know, you talk about American citizens that are under arrest. There's at least some suspicion of them committing a crime. In many cases, these people are being arrested simply because they are potentially have brought into this country illegally. That doesn't concern you at all?
The statistics show that the vast majority, 80% of the people rounded up in these ICE raids are already convicted of serious crimes or wanted for serious crimes. That statistic in itself proves that these raids are necessary. In addition, let me point out that Andrew Cuomo is always siding with the serious criminals. He just paroled a convicted cop killer named Herman Bell. Not one cop in New York State or a police family is going to vote for Andrew Cuomo in November because he's picking the criminals over the victims of crime.
Okay. I believe he does have, or has in the past gotten the endorsement of a police union. So I don't know if that statement's 100% accurate, that every single law enforcement officer will not vote for him. But
that's my prediction, sir. All
right. Lieutenant Governor, we appreciate your perspective on this important topic. Thank you for being here. Still to come, details on 3 Marines charged with sexually assaulting 2 college women. A live report on that investigation is straight ahead.
So we swapped your car out for the all-new Chevy Traverse.
Yes.
Do you think it's going to surprise your daughter?
Absolutely.
Wait, is Mom here yet? Where's Mom? She's in this car. What the heck? Whoa. Yo, whose car is this?
This is the all-new